Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for taking the time to subscribe. This here, a very unusual system trying to develop. There has been one tropical system, tropical storm, on record in the month of February. That occurred back in 1952, and that actually formed near the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, worked across near Florida, the Bahamas, and then near Bermuda. Very similar to this situation that's going on right now. It's a very similar scenario. Do I think this will develop into a tropical storm? No, most likely not, but there is actually a slight chance that it does happen. We have this area sitting right near Texas now. The rain just kind of an old area of low pressure coming out of Texas and parts of Mexico, and it should try to develop a little bit as it moves across Florida and the Bahamas and then lifts its way up to Bermuda. Sound familiar? Just what I was talking about, what happened back in 1952. And this here is the European model, and it looks at where there could be some development. I usually use a map like this during the hurricane season, but it is showing a low about 10, maybe 20% chance, but more likely about a 10% chance that this does try to spin up in some sort of maybe subtropical system as it works its way up near Bermuda and even the Atlantic region of Canada. Now, water temperatures this time of year, they're too cool to support a classic tropical storm or hurricane. They have obviously cooled off. You see across the Caribbean, they're still running near 80, 81 degrees Fahrenheit, which would support a tropical storm forming. But this time of year, there's so much else going on up above our heads. It's not just the water temperatures. And then you get back toward Louisiana, Texas, where this area is trying to kind of work out of. Those water temperatures, 16 degrees Celsius, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. So they are on the chilly side. But with that said, things are running above average in the water. You see these pockets here, this orange shading we're seeing right where this area is going to go across. Water temperatures are above average. So even though they're not like we'd have in the summer, warmer than average water temperatures can help fuel a system a little bit, even in the month of February. So here's this area. Remember the last couple of videos I was showing you this moisture just kind of pulling in out of the Pacific, working across. Nothing organized now. It's a little piece of an old front. There's the old front that's moved off of Bermuda, and sometimes they leave moisture back behind it. So we have this area right here. This is the spot I'm watching. Very similar to what we had in the early 1950s. It was a little bit more down to the south, but then this area works across toward Florida with a higher chance of rain in the Bahamas, and then we'll eventually curl up toward Bermuda. We look in the Caribbean. Here's the tail end of that old front, bringing a couple showers near the Turks and Caicos, parts of the southern Bahamas, but we look toward the west, coming out of the Bay of Campeche, that moisture that's building. So let me show you this system. Again, most likely it will not become a tropical or subtropical storm, but there is that slight chance. So let's watch it together, and then I want to break down the winds, the rain, and the waves with it. So it's this spot in here. This is this afternoon, and this is where it will be headed. Now, let's go out in time for it. Let's go day by day. This here is by Sunday, so we stop at here. Of course, big systems rolling into the west coast of the United States, parts of Canada, but you could see that rain, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Panhandle of Florida by tomorrow. Nothing organized, not looking at a tropical storm forming tomorrow or anything like that, but by the time we get into Monday, you see some of the rain right near Cuba, even the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, over toward Florida and the northern Bahamas in particular. And this is something we've been talking about for days and days, as I've been kind of seeing this kind of being hinted at in some of the models and what I watch in the atmosphere. I don't just watch the models. Then by the time we get into Tuesday, here's Tuesday. Look at the rain moving through the Bahamas and then lifting up right toward Bermuda. This is when it would have a slight chance to develop into a subtropical storm near Bermuda. Subtropical versus tropical, there's just some slight differences. Subtropical storm usually is not as strong, just kind of a broader wind field. I'll leave that science behind. But the possibility of a subtropical storm developing near Bermuda on Tuesday and lifting up toward the Atlantic region of Canada can't be ruled out. It's that low about 10, maybe 20% chance, but you see here by Wednesday over toward the Atlantic region of Canada, at the least, even if this doesn't develop, we're going to be watching a lot of rain moving across for many of us. I'm going to zoom down in a moment over toward Canada on the tail end of this system. Hang with me. You can see here, this is watching the winds. I have kilometers an hour and miles per hour. Nothing too crazy. I mentioned if this does develop, it would be a subtropical storm, and that usually does not have really a warm core where there's huge hurricane-like like winds, but this just helps me find where there may be some sort of circulation forming. By tomorrow, there'll be some gusty winds near Louisiana, Mississippi. That's because of that blob of rain I showed you. Some stronger storms, thunderstorms will be a potential too. And then just watching this area, there's a little curl, little hint of a circulation as we work our way into Monday, right near Florida. By Monday in Florida, this is going to bring some heavier rain. Same thing stretching over toward the Bahamas, but a little circulation, but nothing crazy. We're not seeing like we do in the hurricane season, these reds, yellows, and some of the greens popping up. So we're not seeing that. But by the time we get into Monday and Tuesday, kind of jumping ahead here, you see some of the winds will be picking up, especially once this area gets into the open waters of the Atlantic. That's when it could develop a little bit. At the least, parts of the Bahamas and Bermuda. A lot in the way of rain and some strong winds. At this point, there'll be some winds gusting to about 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers an hour. So we're going to be watching that as that evolves all the way into next week. Here's a zoom down look, and then I'll show you the waves with this. Now, this is today, the tail end of the system, the front that I mentioned earlier, bringing a few spotty showers here and there. Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands, could see a couple for us as we work our way into Jamaica. And then as we work our way into tomorrow, here's that area to the north that we're watching. But look what happens. Here's Florida, the Florida Keys by Monday, watching that rain. Here's western Cuba. There's some of the rain right there. This is Monday afternoon. And then this area moves right across the Bahamas, Freeport, New Providence, and then back towards central Cuba, seeing that chance of rain on Tuesday. And then even Tuesday into Wednesday, parts of the southern Bahamas, we may see some of that rain around just as this area kind of works across. Jamaica, this should stay mainly to the north of us, but by Tuesday, we may see a rain chance bump up just depending on how this shakes out. Now, here's the northern end of all of this. So you can see there's that old front that moved by a couple days ago but left this moisture behind. Here's the possibility of some stronger storms tomorrow. Here's Bermuda, just to orient you. This here, jumping ahead now, this is Tuesday, late on Tuesday. I already showed you the Bahamas, the rain moving by us, but it will feel like a subtropical storm in Bermuda later on Tuesday with those gusty winds that I mentioned, and that chance of some rain, a very high chance of rain on Tuesday. Then this lifts up to the north. Shouldn't be tropical in nature, especially this time of year, but just skirting by the Avalon Peninsula and Newfoundland with that chance of rain and gusty winds as we work our way into Wednesday. By Thursday, all of this off to the east, and then we'll be watching a little piece of energy back behind it, a little mini front that will be working in. Now, the seas are not looking super elevated with this. You see some of these brighter colors popping up. That would be about 2 meters here in feet on the right-hand side of your screen. But going out in time here, this is Monday. As we go from Monday into Tuesday, it's just this pocket in here. But by Tuesday and Wednesday, the Atlantic waters, that's where those seas will pop up to about 3 meters or about 8, 9, 10, even 11 feet in spots, because this is when it may try to develop a little bit as we work our way back toward Bermuda. Looking at the rain from this, and I'll zoom around the horn in just a second. See these white shadings showing up? This would mainly be on Monday for parts of Florida, the Bahamas, near Cuba, where some spots could get a few inches of rain, 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches of rain with this. This is an unusual system. It's not a typical system. To the south, we're looking at spotty showers, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, hit or miss, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the tail end of the front today, U.S. British Virgin Islands. We may get a couple showers around, maybe 10 millimeters of rain, maybe about 1/4 of an inch of rain. Same thing Dominica, south through Trinidad and Tobago. A rain chance not as high as it's been in parts of Guyana and Suriname. Then we swing back to the north. Keep an eye on the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, even down toward Belize. Could see 25 millimeters of rain or 1 inch of rain in spots. Costa Rica, Panama, we've been pretty active, but here's that moisture swinging up. I mentioned Cuba, Florida, the Bahamas earlier, and you can see as well parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. Some spots are on 3 inches of rain or 75 millimeters of rain. So Jamaica, we're looking at a 40 to 50% chance. I'm going to keep an eye on this system. Most of the energy next week from it should be up to the north. Isolated shower the next 3 days in the Cayman Islands. The next 2 days, Trinidad and Tobago, 40% chance of rain. Not super high for us, 30% chance in Barbados. Couple passing showers in St. Lucia, a possibility. Many of us just a dry Grenada. Rain chance 20% tomorrow, that's it. 20% through the weekend, St. Vincent the Grenadines. About a 30% chance in Martinique. 20 to 30% chance as we work our way over toward Dominica. 30 to 40% chance in Guadeloupe. 30% chance the next couple of days, Antigua, Barbuda. 40% chance St. Kitts and Nevis today and Montserrat. And about a 30% chance tomorrow. Same thing in Anguilla, St. Bart's, rain chance with the tail end of that front. Couple showers around St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. We'll be watching that. 40% chance, 30 to 40% chance the next 2 days in Puerto Rico, down to a 20% chance on Monday. Isolated showers possible, as I mentioned, British and U.S. Virgin Islands. Bahamas, of course, watching for that really big increase in rain late Sunday, but more into Monday and Tuesday. So giving you the heads up on that. 40% chance Turks and Caicos, 30 to 40% chance in the Dominican Republic, and an isolated chance of a passing shower, 20 to 30% chance in Haiti. Belize, the next couple of days, a 50% chance of some scattered showers, only a 20% chance in Aruba, and about a 30% chance through the weekend. Curacao and Bonaire, rain chance about 40% today in Guyana, and looking at a 40 to 50% chance as well as we work our way through the weekend in Suriname. Cuba, we're going to see this area skirting us by, especially western and eastern zones. Rain chance will be bumping up, watching scattered showers possible. Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua, about a 50% chance. Same thing today as we work our way into Honduras, and I mentioned Belize earlier, some scattered showers possible. 30% chance today, Guatemala and El Salvador, and about a 40% chance today in Mexico City, down to a 20% chance tomorrow. 40 to 50% chance across the Yucatan Peninsula, 20% chance in northern Colombia, 20 to 30% chance in northern Venezuela, and about a 20% chance in Bermuda. But all eyes next week, especially by Tuesday, with this area that will be moving into Bermuda for some gusty winds and the high chance of rain. And I'll be tracking that for us. So a very unusual storm system forming, brings that large area of rain to some of us. It will get organized near the Bahamas and Bermuda. And overall, keep an eye on the water temperatures all the way leading up to the upcoming hurricane season, which is 99 days away. Thank you for being part of this channel. Have a good day ahead.